Welcome! My name is Debbie and this is Pouring My Art Out for the Lord, and we're going to make this little envelope journal today. It's just using two junk mail envelopes and a few other supplies to make a really cool journal, and this one has a really nice feel to it. So I just have a really simple closure here that I'll show you how to make at the end, and inside we have a little bit of a journal with mostly lined paper. And a little bit of a pocket at the back, a little tucked pocket at the front, and there's just some beads here, a little wooden angel, some images there. So just really nice for some Christmas notes, Christmas lists, with two junk mail envelopes. So stick around and I'll show you how to do it. So here's what you're going to need to make this project. You're going to need a couple of envelopes. These are kind of our standard business size envelopes. I think these are actually maybe a little bit smaller. They're 9 by 4, almost 4. But you can use whatever size you want because we're just going to cover it kind of collage style. And then you need a piece of cardstock. You can use coffee dyed cardstock. I just have a lot of this plain cardstock hanging around. It'll be easier if it's not completely white, but you can use white. You just have to ink and do a little bit more work to cover it. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to cut this down. And then if you're a member of the Inspired Junk Journalers, all of these papers are going to be in the coffee shop for you. This is actually what's left of one of the papers from our welcome kit. I've used a few for our ornaments. This is the second time I printed it out, so I've used a few before. So I'm going to probably use a few of those, and I made you a new page which has all new designs, very similar to these, but all new designs. And then I made another page with just a whole bunch of sentiments. It's the same sentiment in 3 different colorways. And I think there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 times 3, 39 different sentiments for you. And then here's some little kind of mini index cards. They're rounded on the edges so they're easy to get in and out of pockets. I made 9 this size and I didn't want to waste this size, but these were too big for here, so I made 3 in a smaller size, so you can tuck these into the pockets of your ornaments, or you can use them on this project as well. And then I've given you these pages in the past, all of these pages here that we've been using for collage and different things, and I've added another one today for you. So this is another one that you can use for this collage piece. And the other thing that you likely won't have, I have this, I think it's packing tape. I got this huge roll at a thrift store for $2.99. I wish you could all just pop over and get a piece because this will last me more than one lifetime. But this is, it's sticky, but it's not sticky until it's activated with water. And then when it is activated with water, it is so super strong. So, and I really like how it crinkles and feels afterwards. So I'm going to use that. You can use, this is going to be for the binding, so you can use another piece of cardstock. You could use a piece of fabric. You could use another type of tape that you have, bookbinding tape or something like that. Lots of different options, but that's what I'm going to use. So I'm just going to put some of this stuff to the side here. And the first thing I'm going to do is get my envelopes together. So what I'm going to do is just open them both up like this and put them inside each other. And you can use any size envelope for this. You could use, just card size. You can use, bigger ones if you want. It helps if they're both the same size. I don't know why that's so hard for me today to stick them in there. It's not a hard thing to do normally. So just kind of nest them inside of each other like that. So they're nested inside of each other, and then I just want to glue them together. So I'm just going to glue, kind of straighten them up here. And envelopes are notoriously not completely standard, especially after they've been coffee dyed. So just work with the imperfections. And these I actually tea dyed yesterday. Oh, I should have filled up my glue here. So I just want to give a little bit of glue to that flap there. And then here, I want to pull this flap back out now that I've got the outside attached. This is going to be easier to get in and out. So I just put a little bit of glue in. I mean, this doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to cover it with a bunch of stuff. And then just stick it back in, and now these are glued together. And then the next thing we're going to do is, just for some stability, is to add a piece of cardstock into the center of this. So mine happens because my envelopes are not quite 9 inches. This 8.5 by 11 piece of paper fits perfectly in there. So I'm going to leave, well, I could go almost right to the edge here. I'm going to have a little bit of a border at the top and the bottom, but I'm okay with that. And then I'll just grab a pencil. And just give it a mark where this ends. Just, you know, maybe 1/8 of an inch away from the other side of the envelopes, so that I have, you know, a mark right here. And then I'm just going to cut that on my cutter here. And then that should fit perfectly inside here. And what I'm going to do is put, do I want, you know, I don't even actually really need glue on this one, so I'm not going to worry about the glue. So just kind of bend it and cajole it into the envelopes here without ripping your envelopes too much. Maybe what I should have done is probably stuck this in before I had my envelopes together. I've done this before and it worked out okay, but I think I had a softer piece of paper. I think I probably even used a little piece of copy paper for it. So if you have copy paper, this will work well. If you do it with cardstock, like I'm saying to do this time, I think put it into your envelopes before you glue them together. So I've got my piece of cardstock in there, and then I'm just going to seal up the ends with this tape. So this is what I was talking about getting this tape for. Must have got a little bit wet there. It's stuck to itself. Okay, so I'm just going to measure from one side to the other and cut off a piece of this. And then I'm just going to give it a bit of spritz of water here to wet it. And put it on the 2 envelopes. Mine is a tiny bit crooked, but that is okay. By the time we're done, we won't see any of that. And then I'm going to do another piece for this side. side. If it doesn't get wet, it doesn't stick. So if you spray it like that, it doesn't always get end-to-end coverage, but we're going to be putting stuff on top of here and stitching and stuff. So sometimes I'll use a sponge to apply water to the tape, because that way I know that there's it gets water everywhere, and then it'll stick better. But this works fine for what I'm doing today. I'm just going to trim off that edge there. And this side. Okay. And then just going to fold up my book again, just to keep that fold in here while I'm working. You know, the feel of a book, a junk journal, to me at least, the feel of it is just as important or even more important than the looks of it. I love the, you know, just how it feels in my hand. And I already like how this is feeling. So next we need to take this spare piece of cardboard. If you're doing if your envelopes are similar to my size, you'll have about this much left. If not, you can cut another piece, or you can use various things. I just want to put a little tuck spot on both sides of this inside. So I'm just gonna, this is 3.5, so that is 1 3/4 in half. So I'm gonna put half here, and I'm gonna put half here. So before I sew the pockets on, I want to collage the pockets. So I just have a bunch of different strips here. I took the papers that I had still left from other weeks and a little bit from this week as well, and just cut up a bunch of strips. So there's my 2 pockets, and I'm just going to put a little bit of ink on the edge that will not be sewn, because it'll be hard to get ink on that edge later. I'm just going to ink a little bit of this envelope that will show. Now I'm just going to collage the outside of the journal. So again, just take my strips, and of course you could use strips that are torn as well. I have done that many times too. This time I just decided I wanted straight strips, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I think I'm going to sew now, and I'm going to finish my decorating after. So I'm going to just clip these edges on. Actually, I might just sew. I think I will sew down this edge, this open edge on both sides. So down that edge and down this edge, and then I'll put them onto the base, and then I'll sew all around the edges. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. I was going to sew down here, but I think sometimes I sit at the sewing machine and I change my mind, so I don't think I'm going to sew there, but I'll let you know in 2 seconds. Okay, so my journal is stitched. So I ended up stitching on either side of the spine. I thought if I did that, then when it bends here, these, well, this one didn't even catch, but some of these won't tend to come up because there's stitching holding them down there. And then I did I sewed the pockets here before I stitched everything together. Then I layered everything together and I stitched. There's 2 stitching lines here. So I stitched one a little bit farther away from the edge to catch those pockets, and then I did those 2, and then I stitched all the way around. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have never tried stitching, I would highly recommend it. You know, if you have a sewing machine around. I didn't specifically say it this time, but I do wait for the glue to dry before I stitch, because it's not good for the machine to gum it up with the glue. But as long as your glue is dry, I don't think it's going to ruin your machine. Anyways, I do like the looks of the stitching. So there's my cover, and I also inked around the edges. I didn't ink on the spine here, which I will just do here. And then I want to add another layer of decoration. So that's where I'm going to use the new pages that we have. And I've cut out a few little bits and pieces, some of the images and a few of the words, and even a couple of these things. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet, but you will see what I'm going to do. So I thought I would make a bit of a collage on the front here, and maybe just, I don't know, something like that, or kind of like maybe a bigger one there. If you find that something is not stuck down really well, you can always just, you know, add a tiny bit of glue there, and that will hold it down then. So let's see here, something like that. I should almost have a bigger word, but I don't, so I think I'm going to go with something like that. So I'm going to put this piece down first. I'm trying to work just with what we have in the kit, because I know that everyone has, the Inspired Junk Journalers anyways, have all of these digitals, but feel free to use any other paper, lace, any kind of embellishments that you want on these. I think the more that you put, you know, lace and bits and pieces, maybe even some metal, some fibers, I think it just makes it more interesting and just gives it another dimension, and just improves it. And yeah, so just decorate them however you want. Make a few of them. They're really fun to make. I think I might make another title that says something like Christmas list, and I might make it a little bigger title that says that, and I think I might use that for my cover. So if I end up doing that, For the Inspired Junk Journalers, I will give you that digital. So I think I'm just going to use these ones maybe on the side here, because I think they're too small to be like the focal title. This guy looks like he's telling the good news, so I have good news here for him. Good news. There. So something like that. Couple more threads to cut off there. And then on the back, I have a few more of these guys. So let's see. Just something like that, maybe. Or do I want this? No, I think I like this better. I hope you enjoy this project. I really enjoy projects like this. You kind of start with junk and you end up with something really beautiful. And that's what junk journaling is all about. And like I was saying earlier, the feel of something is at least half of the beauty of a journal to me, and probably to you too. You know, it just feels good in the hand. It's kind of squishy and, you know, kind of bendy, but not too bendy. And I don't know, I just really like the feel of it. So I might just put Amen in the middle there. Like that. There, and I think I'll have some kind of a title there. And then inside, I think I'm just going to do a little bit of decoration too. I'm just going to put things that are kind of poking in underneath the pockets. Oops. I think that looks interesting. Put Jesus there. Maybe I'll put one of these little things here just to, you know, maybe I might want to add a little note or something there. Maybe the date or something that I'm doing this Christmas list for. And you can use this, you know, for planning your Christmas if you're celebrating, cooking, all those kinds of things, gifts. Or you can use it to add to the study that we're doing on the promises of Messiah. You could keep extra notes in here, maybe some of your favorite hymns or, you know, anything like that. And I might like another one of these vintage cards on the other side. I'll just see what this one looks like. These are vintage images, but I cleaned them up a little bit and resized them and put them into frames and stuff so that they would work better for our project. So and some of the images are things that I put together myself as well. So, oops. Did I not get that corner glued? And I thought Savior would work well for this one, I think. These little words are so handy for all kinds of different things. Little tags, those little tag things that we made initially with the welcome gifts. These would look good on there as well. Do I want it maybe up there, because the one on the left side is underneath the picture. I like to have a little variety. So Savior there. I had another one of these somewhere. I do not know where I put it. This is one from my Faith Basics kit that just happened to be on my desk, so I might just take advantage of using that. If you have my Faith Basics kit, all of the things in that kit would work fabulous for this. In fact, I was planning on making another one of these using just my Faith Basics, because I have the papers and I have all of the different images. And so if you're not a member of the Inspired Junk Journalers, but you do have the Faith Basics, then hang on and I'll show you how to make one. Well, you can make it yourself, of course, or I'll show you how to make it as well. So I could use this one here as well somewhere. Meditate. Meditate. I'm just going to put it down here. Right, like that. So you can keep adding and doing different things here. Play with it as much as you like. Sometimes I leave a project for overnight or whatever, and I come back and I add something to it. With fresh eyes, you can see something. No, I don't think I like that. Don't think, unless I covered the meditate. I might do that. I put promise because that's our study, is promises and fulfillments. There. So I'm going to stop there for now, but I may add something else. Like I said, probably a title and some things. So the other thing that I want to do, and you could just leave it like this and just tuck things into here, and that would be fine, but I'm going to put in a little signature as well. So I have some more pages for the Inspired Junk Journalers for this month. So I think I already showed you this one. Or maybe I didn't. I think I did. And then this one was from our first week. And then I've already cut these down to size, but I wanted quite a few lined pieces of paper in this journal. So I did several different types of lines. This is one from our first week. This is one from our first week as well, I think. And this one. Some ledger. This is one from, I think, last week. And some ledger, which is the same, which I don't want back to back, so I'll rearrange those a little bit. And then I have, because I didn't want to cut this hymn, these Christmas carols, I think I'm just going to sew this in the middle. Or I could sew it on the outside edge. Maybe I'll do it on the outside edge. And then I'll just fold in the edges. And then it will, I can open it up and read all of the music. I didn't want to just cut it off in the middle. So I think I'll leave that on the outside. And then just kind of play around and see what looks good next to each other. I think I've got it how I would like it. Just make sure everything is right side up. That needs to be right side up. And then I'm just going to sew the signature in. So if you've seen signatures being sewn in many times, feel free to skip ahead. So I'm just going to grab my stuff and I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got my thread. This is some waxed thread. I often use crochet cotton. That works fine too, especially a small journal like this. I usually do about 2.5 times. Actually, I'm going to give it a little extra because I think I might do some, might dangle it and put some beads on this one. So I'm going to thread my needle. That's probably too long, but that's okay. I always use a foam book to punch my holes. Works well for me. So I'm going to just line everything up how I want it. When you stick it into the fold of a book like this, a foam book, then the holes just automatically line up at the spine. It works really well. So this is just an awl. You can use a pokey tool of some sort. I'm just going to eyeball where the center is here. So I punched my holes, and I'm going to do, I think I'm going to start on the inside. You have to kind of decide if you want to start on the inside and have your knot on the inside or the outside. So I come in that way, come through the bottom, go back out through the top, and then I want to go back in through the center, the same hole that I used before. And when you put it back in, you don't want to catch the other, see how I caught that? You don't want to split your thread there, so just back that up and bring it out itself, and then we don't need the needle anymore. And then I want to kind of even out these inside edges. I don't need my foam book anymore. So I'm just going to, I did catch something here as well. So if you caught something, then just see if you can undo it. Okay, so this one has to be way longer. This one is coming from this side. I want to make shorter. Perfect. Okay. And then I just give it a good tug like that. You don't want to rip the paper, but you want it to be taut. I put one of these on either side of the center string. Just give it a good tug, and then I hold this tight, and I just check on the outside and make sure that my strings are tight, and they're not as tight as I like them, so I'm just going to give it a little bit more of a tug. That looks pretty good. So I'm just going to give that a knot. With this waxed thread, the knots really stay in well because it's just kind of leaves that nicely. Now, did I get everything right side up? Looks like I did. Good. All right, so I'm just going to let that dangle for now. I'm going to fold these. I'm just going to use the next page so I can, or use these pages so I can fold that in to the proper way. So that will open like that. You can put a little paper clip or something to hold that on. I'm not going to make this into a journal with pockets and, well, there's a couple pockets, but pockets and flips and paper clips and all that kind of stuff. I'm just going to keep it fairly simple because I do want it to just be kind of a writing journal. So there is my journal. So I think I'm going to make a title and add a title, and I'm going to string a couple of beads on the bottom here. And then I will show you a picture at the end of what it looks like. If you have any questions, leave me a comment, or if you're on the Inspired Junk Journalers group, let me know in the Facebook group and we can talk about different things. I may actually do a little bit of a closure here too. And if I do that, I'll show you what I did. So that's it for now. Blessings. Okay, so I'm just about finished my book here. I added some beads to the end of the thread that I used to sew my signatures together, and that just hangs out of the bottom. I added a wooden angel with some gold stickles. I've been using those on my ornaments in the Inspired Junk Journalers group. If you're in the group, I added Christmas 2023 notes and lists onto the printable, so you can have those for your books. I added a little bit of that brown packing tape that I had. I just ripped a couple of pieces and just used it here and there to add a little bit of something. And I think that's all that I did. I just wanted to show you how to do the closure. This is like the simplest closure. One of the simplest closures probably in the world. I don't know. You just take a piece of elastic, and I have some red elastic from my stash, so I thought that would go well. And you want it twice the width of your book. So if you put it in half, put it under the book, and it should basically just join in the middle. And you can buy this at sewing stores, you can buy it at craft stores, online. You can even deconstruct an old mask and get some of that elastic out. Some of them, sometimes they sell it with the Christmas wrapping. That's what this might be, because it is sort of sparkly red, I'm not sure. But what you want to do is just from the bottom of the button, the back of the button, you want to thread the two ends of your elastic through. So the two ends are now on the front of the button. And then you just want to tie in a knot at the top here. This elastic is a little slippery here. I tied it quite. I think that'll still work. Okay. I didn't tie it as close to the end as I wanted to because it kept slipping. Just try to straighten that up a little bit. And then the button goes right here. This one I'm going to trim off these ends. So you just have that at the top. And then you slip this around the book and put the loop end over top of the button. And there you have your closure. Super duper easy. You can put it, wherever you want. You can put it up the top like this. You can have it asymmetrical. I have more elastic on this side than this side. You can center the button if you want. You can put it, centered. I like to flare out the sides of the elastic like that. You can put it asymmetrical, so over on the side here, and then still do this. So however you want to do it, it's just a really quick and easy closure, and it holds your book together really easily. So there you go, all done. And if you're part of the Inspired Junk Journalers group, go over to Coffee and pick up your free digitals, and we'll see you all in the next video. Blessings.